Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. The formal meeting of the Richmond City Council will now come to order. You will find your seating. Madam Clerk, if you would please request the necessary announcement of our Spanish interpretation services at this time.
Yes, Spanish interpretation is available in the council chamber. Please see a representative at the rear of the room to receive the appropriate equipment. Spanish interpretation is also available through Microsoft Teams for virtual attendees in need of this service.
Disponemos de servicios de interpretación al español en la sala del consejo. Por favor, diríjase en la parte trasera de la sala para interpretación y el equipo. La interpretación en español también se está poniendo a disposición a través de Microsoft Teams para los participantes virtuales que necesiten dichos servicios.
Thank you. At this time, the invocation will be offered by Imam Adib Ahmed of Ahmadiyya Temple, and that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank this opportunity for the city council as well as all of the district council members as well to giving me the opportunity to initiate this session with today's blessings. The prayer won't take more than 2 minutes. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen. Translation is, I seek refuge from Satan the rejected. In the name of Allah, the God, the gracious, the merciful. All praise belongs to God, Lord of all the worlds, the gracious, the merciful, master of the day of judgment. Thee alone do we worship, and thee alone do we implore for help. Guide us in the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed thy blessings, those who have not incurred thy displeasure, and nor of those who have gone astray. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Imam Ahmed. If you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance now.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Community, prior to proceeding to the next item on our agenda, I would like to ask that you would join me in a moment of silence in recognition of the passing of Dr. Lucille M. Brown, a RPS teacher, an RPS principal, an RPS superintendent with over 41 years in public education and service throughout the greater Richmond area. If you would just join me now in a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, Madam Clerk, if you would please proceed with the chamber emergency evacuation announcement, followed by the public speaker guidelines.
A
Upon activation of the emergency alarm signal, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exit to the left, right, or front of the council chamber or the east or west stairwell outside of the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed down 9th Street and enter the assembly area located in the former public safety building parking lot. Able persons should assist visually in hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. Persons wishing to speak during the public comment period or public hearings are generally allowed 3 minutes to speak. Persons appearing before the council are not allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use language of a personal nature which assaults or demeans any person, including comments directed at public officials or staff members that are not related to their official duties, or address the question staff members directly. All questions should be directed to the president of council. Failure to adhere to the guidelines may result in speakers forfeiting any remaining time and further disciplinary action as necessary, which could include barring from attendance at future meetings of the committee for a period of 6 months. Members of the public who register in advance to speak virtually will be called at the appropriate time, either during the public comment period or during the public hearing for the legislation on which they signed up to address.
And Madam President, for the record, all members of council are in attendance this evening except for Councilor Breton.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's proceed.
Also, Madam President, before we get started, if there are individuals standing in the rear of the chamber, besides law enforcement, security, and media, they are asked to be seated where seats are available. Also, no applause is permitted during tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's proceed with any appointments or reappointments for consideration this evening.
Council was provided a report of interim appointments previously made to the Public Art Commission for the body's consideration of final appointment of such members to the commission. With that, is there a motion to approve the final appointments as presented?
So moved. Second.
Council is voting on the motion to approve final appointment of interim members to the Public Art Commission. Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Robertson, Ms. Lynch, Ms. Trammell, Ms. Abubakar, Vice President Jordan,
Aye.
and President Newbill.
Aye.
Those appointments have been approved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's proceed with the public comment period. And all speakers who've signed up to by comment.
The first speaker is Omari Al-Qaddafi.
Good evening. My name is Omar Al-Qaddafi, and I'm a senior organizer and public housing subject matter expert at Legal Aid Justice Center. I've been organizing around Richmond public housing issues for over 8 years, and I've worked on several General Assembly sessions in partnership with legislators and RHA residents to pass laws that combat abuse from housing authorities. Not just because I have a belief that citizens have a fundamental right to housing in this country, but because I know that when a housing authority operates to the benefit of residents, economic progress is possible. So today I am here to support the housing authority. I'm here to support City Council's appointed RHA Board of Commissioners and thousands of residents of Gilpin Court. Most especially, I'm supporting the vision of Dream Boyd and Kiara Harris of the Gilpin Informed Residents Group. And I hope that you will support all of these folks as well. I emailed City Council members last week notifying you all of an issue that was highlighted when RHA's CEO presented a plan that the board had never seen to transfer Gilpin Court's 781 apartments to their subsidiary called the Richmond Development Corporation. Although RHA has a board of commissioners that you all appointed after thoughtful deliberation, this corporation does not. In fact, only one of RHA's 9 commissioners are in leadership at this corporation. The rest of the corporation's board are unelected, paid employees of the RHA CEO. The simple fact of the matter is that this one CEO is in control at the RDC, and there is virtually no public accountability. Their meetings are not public. RHA commissioners say that they have not seen the RDC's bylaws, and they don't know what the RDC board's authority is. Commissioner Barrett Harberman even stated during the April board meeting that at this moment, the Housing Authority is not in control of the RDC. This organization has amassed $16 million in cash and assets in recent years, received an injection of $6.3 million in 2022, yet the same staff came to you all last year trying to siphon money from the Family Crisis Fund for evictions and gave out 2 liters of water per family during the water crisis. This is not a protest. This is simply public awareness and a request for your leadership in plugging a gaping hole in our local democracy, which is so
30
important during
seconds.
these times of outright defiance of democracy and accountability across the nation. We ask that you direct Richmond Redevelopment Housing Authority commissioners and staff using any means necessary to cease all Richmond Development Corporation real estate acquisitions and dispositions until they can appoint no less than a quorum of RHA's Board of Commissioners and 3 RHA residents to the Richmond Development Corporation Board of Directors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Qaddafi.
The next speaker is Dream Boyd.
Peace. My name is Dream Boyd, and this is Kiera Harris. We are here to represent the Gilpin and Forum residents. The Gilpin and Forum residents was formed to collaborate with RRHA stakeholders to give Gilpin Court residents long-term inclusion and reassurance throughout the redevelopment planning, implementation, and beyond. During the Choice Neighborhood Grant Planning process, we worked timelessly for 18 months, attending meetings, leading engagement activities, and contributing input. But the key things that we desire were excluded from the Jackson Ward Community Plan product. We were clear that Richmond needs one-for-one replacement for all bedroom sizes in Gilpin Court and genuine opportunities for wealth creation for Gilpin Court residents. RRHA recently introduced a plan to transfer the entire Gilpin Court to the Richmond Development Corporation. We never heard of this company during the Choice Neighborhood Planning process, and this transfer was not discussed. We feel that we are now being excluded from RRHA's latest plans for our community after sacrificing so much effort. We are still committed to supporting the publicly accountable and resident-driven redevelopment of Gilpin Court like always. We are more than just criminals who don't pay our rent and who want to run from our neighborhood. That's not true. We do want to stay in our neighborhood, in our community. We don't want to stay with poor maintenance and mistreatment by staff. That is why residents choose to leave. It is not to run from the people in our community, it's to run away from the management. We want to work with RDC to support us with training in Resident Management Corporation. The RDC could help create pathways for us and current residents to get Section 3 contracts, not just jobs, with proper support. We can have ownership and real opportunity to enjoy the fruits of the upcoming redevelopment of Gilpin. To get that, we need thoughtful leadership, sharing a collective vision for public housing redevelopment. We need public accountability
30
when
seconds.
it comes to public housing. That was it.
Thank you, Ms. Boyd.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Penny Page.
Hi there. I'm Penny Page of Richmond, Virginia, where I'm proud to serve as the Vice President of the Partnership for Smarter Growth. Emailed to you earlier today was a statement on behalf of the Partnership for Smarter Growth expressing our standing in solidarity with the residents of Gilpin Court and their request for more transparency. Because this has already been shared with the Council President, I will not read it now. Instead, I will share my own insight into the situation, which is why I was appointed to be the Vice President of the Partnership for Smarter Growth. Although these opinions are just my own, they're based on my experience working with people in the city who've experienced all kinds of hardship, including those in public housing. And when I read through the requests that they have made, I see a lot of people who have a lot of great reason that their trust has been eroded in the people who govern, the forces that govern their lives. It's not only in the conflicting information that's coming from different parts of RHA's leadership. Some people are saying there is a plan. Some people are saying there's not. Some people are saying that RDC is controlled by RHA. Some people are saying it's not. It's also in their past experiences with RHA. I think a lot of them have had very difficult time getting basic maintenance things done. And if RHA wants to improve conditions for them, I think that's great. And I hope that they really do. But I think that the reality of those past difficulties makes it clear that they need to do the work to rebuild this trust. There's also a lot of the messaging that I've heard around this plan to transfer Gilpin Court to RDC that also erodes trust. Some of the messaging around this has referred to people facing economic hardship as, as being of a mindset that is not responsible. This makes it hard to trust, the powers that be, because it's not only insulting, but this flies in the face of science that we know now. Economics, social science have for hundreds of years developed that economic stratification is what keeps people in a cycle of poverty. People haven't believed in this kind of poverty as a result of moral failure since the time before we knew the earth revolved around the sun. And I think that we need people who are more up to date on their science.
30 seconds.
If we're going to trust that they're going to make good decisions with these residents in mind. I think that these residents have a good reason not to trust this process. It's possible that it's being done in their best interest, but that needs to be proven to them. And I urge you to strongly consider what they have recommended. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Page.
The next speaker is Cora Hayes, and she is a virtual speaker. Ms. Hayes, you may now unmute your mic. Ms. Hayes, if you're there, you may now unmute your device and provide your comment. Madam President, I do see Ms. Hayes on the line, but she has not unmuted her device. So would you like to move on to the next speaker and come back to her?
Yes.
Okay. The next speaker is Stephanie Robertson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Robertson, and I am also a Gibbon Informed resident and also a resident. And I have done my investigation. I have met up with Stephen Netsmith himself for the last couple of weeks to talk about and discuss the RDC plan. And from what I pick up from the plan and from what I have learned is that it is for the people. If you are ready to become independent and grow within your life and change your living situations, it may not be in your tax bracket right now, but I can assure you that he will make sure that you can pay your rent by setting up an eviction prevention program connected with the RDC. Not only that, he will also make sure that if you miss 1 to 2 or 3 rental payments, that you can be a part of the Section 3 job program so that you will not lose your housing. I have met with him, and these are some things we have discussed for the people. In order for you to fight for the people, you have to do your investigation and actually meet up with the CEO himself to discuss the plan and come up with a plan that works for the people. I call it making a deal for the people. I made a deal. Let's set it up so that the people can trust you. Let's build that trust by making sure that people do not lose their homes once they get it. And then you have to really think about it. You get a chance to own your own homes. Are you serious? We're going to turn that down to live in public housing, to live with bad maintenance issues for the rest of our life because we are scared as people to grow? In order to fix the plan, you have to become a part of the plan and come up with a plan for the people. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Not only as a resident living with bad maintenance issues myself, I just left a house filled with mold, fungi. And this was going on before he became CEO, and he helped my family. It took a lot. It took a lot of motivation. It took a lot out of me. I'm out of that house now. I have my housing now. I'm in a better apartment. They are working. Maintenance is working overtime for the people. I see it. I live there, so I see the proof. They are doing everything they can for the people. Let's tell everything, not half of the truth. RRHA and new management are working for us
30
and
seconds.
with us. They are not leaving a stone unturned. They are coming to the people. And I, Stephanie Robinson, fight for the people. I am a Gilpin Informed resident. I am here for the people. And I am making deals for the people, free of charge, my free time, outside of me having to work. Thank you all and have a blessed day. And I will continue to fight for you all. I will continue to come up with a plan with Stephen Nesmith and his representatives. I will.
Thank you, Ms. Marvinson.
Ms. Hayes, Cora Hayes, if you are still on the line, if you would unmute your device to provide your public comment. Madam President, would you like me to come back to her at the end
Let's do
of the
that.
list?
Thank you,
Okay.
Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is Jing Lee.
Good evening. My name is Jing Lei. I use any pronouns. I'm speaking today as a community member of the 5th District. I'm currently concerned about the direction of our public housing is heading towards and the growing disconnect between what's being proposed, what residents are actually needing. The proposal for transferring Gilpin Court from RRHA to RDC does not simply change the ownership, potentially the priorities and long-term accountability as well. Public housing is one of the only rental options where people have a say in how their communities are maintained and ran. And despite the RDC and RRHA working together as a team, Gilpin Court, once transferred, would cause residents to lose their rights and protections. And unlike RRHA, the board members are not appointed nor elected by the city council members, which means that there's less ways for the public to have input on how their communities are ran. RRHA and RDC are asking for trust. But the people have a good reason not to. For one, this proposal was not necessarily brought before the residents first. The majority of people were not informed about this vote, even occurring at the board's general meeting, despite the importance this decision would have on their livelihoods. During the proposal, there were no plans for where people would live, no plans for how the students would stay in their same schools, and no plans for how this process would be paid for, despite the raised concerns in their board meeting 1 month before the proposal over real estate taxes, maintenance, and operation costs. And we still don't know the full ramifications of this transfer. And while the world is uncertain, the fear of what could happen cannot be the sole motivating factor when it comes to this decision making. We cannot allow fear nor a scarcity mindset dictate and justify the rash actions regarding Gilpin Court, as it creates room for impulsive actions that do not take into account those long-term consequences, not just for the Gilpin Court residences, but all the residences of public housing here in Richmond. If this is an effort meant to improve the lives of residents, which I do think everyone here wants, it makes sense for residents to be asking the RDC and RRHA to show that they are trustworthy and have the residents' best interests in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee.
The next speaker is Cheryl Hampton.
Good evening, Madam President Newbill and other honorable council members. Cheryl Hampton, Senior Vice President for Real Estate Development at Richmond Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Thank you for the opportunity to share information with you this evening. We hope that these remarks and the handout that you've received at your desk will demonstrate why this proposal is good for Gilpin. And hopefully it will mitigate any misinformation being circulated. First and foremost, everything that RRHA does is with our residents in mind. This is a resident-centered proposal. The 179-page document the plan was developed with Gilpin Informed residents, other community stakeholders, the city as a prime partner. But why now? And what's being proposed? We are not proposing putting in all of the 781 units. We are proposing a phased redevelopment approach. This disposition follows national standards. All PHAs across this country, many of them have nonprofit arms, subsidiaries for development. We are proposing this phased approach. The RDC, Richmond Development Corporation, this is not privatization. It is a nonprofit subsidiary wholly owned by RRHA. There is accountability and oversight. A member of the board sits on a member of the RRHA board sits on the RDC board. Also, any action taken by the RDC board must also be approved by the RRHA board. So, what else is important about this and why now? There is a sense of urgency. You all and many in the audience, we all know the volatility of funding coming from the federal government. We want to, with this approach, it allows us to lock in those tenant protection vouchers so that we will have aid
30
to
seconds.
provide to all Gilpin households that want to relocate and who wants to return. And yes, we know we need to enhance our resident engagement. We own our mistakes. So we're here today to share with you that we have a plan of action over the next coming weeks on how we will be handling and meeting with residents so they can get the same information we shared with you and what we continue to say.
That is your
Yes.
time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton.
The next speaker is Arthur Burton.
Good evening, Madam Chair. My name is Arthur Burton. I'm a resident of the 2nd District. I own a home in Jackson Ward, and the last time I looked, Gilpin Court was a part of Jackson Ward. It is the ancestral home of the descendants of enslaved Africans who were brought here in this country, and we built this city with our hands. And we have lived in this community since the inception of this city, 1929. And now we're being told that we will not have, that one person, one organization feels as if they should have the right to take this community from us, take 15 years to develop it. See, we are in an urgent condition. I've been working in Gilpin Court for 7 years. I have built the farm with my own hand. I have raised the children. I've fed the people. And I'm telling you that the conditions of this community are horrendous. They are inhumane. 781 women, thousands of children locked in a horrible condition. The housing authority needs to power wash some buildings. The housing authority needs to sweep some stairways. The housing authority needs to paint some rails. And we need to find 5 development companies ready, local development companies. And we don't need to take 15 years. We need to get this done in 7 years. We've been at this too long. These people, these are our families. These are our neighbors. And we're looking around the world talking about what's humane, and we have one of the most inhumane situations in this city going on right here. And it's time for us all to rise up and do something about it. We don't need the tall man in the tall building to do nothing for us. We need the opportunity to do it for ourselves. And everybody in this city, it is time now to build a new community for Gilpin Court. It's that time. And we need to stop shucking and jiving, and we need to get it done in 7 years. Everybody needs, every architect, engineer, planner,
30
construction company who's hearing the sound of my voice should be packing up and heading over there now, and so we can provide our community a better life. Because that is the moment we're in. This plan proposed by RRHA is inhumane because it takes too long.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Madam Clerk, is Ms. Hayes, can we check to see if she's available?
Ms. Cora Hayes, if you are there, if you would unmute your device. Madam President, I do not see her unmuting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would simply like to thank all who come out to express your concerns, provide comments relative to relative to the RDC and RRHA Gilpin Court proposal as you understand it and as you see it and as you've interacted with the administration. Not here.
Me.
I'm not seeing. Madam Clerk, can you? Yes. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on the screen. I'm getting to you as soon as they can fix me here. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Lynch?
Thank you. The issues that are being raised tonight are extremely critical. They're life and death issues. They are the most important issues and should be the focal point of everybody sitting at this, all my colleagues sitting at this table. This is life or death. And this is worthy of a whole agenda item on an organizational development committee meeting. There's a lot to dig into here with the RDC, a lot for us to understand, a lot of unintended consequences that we need to get a handle on, and lives that are at stake. When what they're talking about doing impacts that community, we're not talking about one-for-one replacement. We're talking about people that are going to be displaced, and that is serious as a heart attack. So I would suggest kindly that we invite RHHA and perhaps other stakeholders back so that we can have a full and robust discussion and really dig in to how this, what the RDC, what their plans are, how it fits into the larger strategic vision for development overall, and how we look at all of our communities and really focusing in on how are we addressing the housing crisis, not just for what we call affordable housing, but for people who are at 30-40% of the area median income and below. And I think having a robust discussion like that and inviting members of our administration plus RHHA would be very helpful and give us some context and allow us to dig in, because the impact on these families is potentially too great and it's worth too much. So that's my ask.
Thank you, Councilmember Lynch. And I would certainly ask that the opportunity is given to Land Use, Housing, Transportation Committee to entertain a full conversation and share that back with us. I certainly know in my experience working with RHA, the commitment to residents in terms of tenant bill of rights and those kinds of things that we have seen, certainly would like to have that be a part of the discussion. And I suspect that would also be the case here, but would like to have it go to Land Use, Housing, Transportation and bring that back and have benefit for all here and others to provide any feedback, comment that would come back to council. Councilwoman Gibson and then Councilwoman Trammell.
Thank you, Madam President, and I appreciate the kind of next step, and my hope is that I can participate in that discussion. Gilpin Court is in my district, and I wanted to thank the work of the advocates. Without their engagement on this, we may not have the opportunity to have this discussion. There have been multiple actions taken by the RHA board that ultimately have failed, and as a result, we are continuing to have a dialogue about a way to ensure that any changes to that community are done in a way that ensure that that residents have, have a plan and that there is a plan. This is something that would have widespread implications on the residents in the 3rd District and Gilpin Court, and also to the Carver Elementary School community. And so I would encourage us to consider that broader discussion as we move forward. Ultimately, I, as a council member, have significant questions. I've spoken publicly on this. I look forward to more conversations with RHA, but ultimately, I think we are right to be asking these questions, and I implore the advocates to stay connected on this, and specifically those in Gilpin Court who, to be honest, I mean, when we advocate for ourselves in housing, we do so with some fear that there could be retaliation, and I am very cognizant of that. And so I appreciate those that have who have felt strong enough to be able to bring their voices, which are critical in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Trammell?
Thank you. I was just asking, do all of y'all live over there? All the ones in the back, do all live over there? I would like to see when we do have the meeting with everyone, I'd like to see some of the residents. I think there was one that spoke. I'd like to see others come out here with the board and bring it all to us so we can know everything that's going on, not just bits and pieces of it. Stephen, I just want to say thank you. And also I know that you will let us know more than what we're hearing tonight. And also, like I said, I would like to hear from the board and many of the residents that live in that area. Because they've been calling me and they look like there's just so much mixed communication out there. And they said they're tired of other people coming in there basically trying to tell them what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. That's why I asked, do all of you all live there? I know y'all do. I know you do. But anyway, I'd like to have more information for all of us. And thank you, Kenyon. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilmember Trammell. Again, we would invite the RRHA representatives and certainly Mr. Nesmith as CEO and your staff as you desire, as well as RDC representative, board representative, and community voices to attend and participate in that meeting. I would ask that what we're talking about is our strategy across our public housing communities across the city. So it's not simply a development, and some of what you've already committed to as started in Creighton and other now going to Mosby with again, I'm just emphasizing one area, tenant bill of rights, that et cetera. So that's only one component, but I would certainly ask that all would come to that meeting and we will get that information out to you and look forward to your feedback. Thank you. Madam Clerk, let's move on to review any amendments to tonight's agenda.
The amendments to tonight's agenda are as follows. Item 1, ordinance 2025-025 is to be amended later this evening and then continue to the Monday, July 28th council meeting. Item 2, ordinance 2025-046 is to be amended later this evening and then continue to the Monday, June 23rd council meeting. Item 3, ordinance 2025-052 will be continued to the Monday, September 22nd council meeting. Item 4, ordinance 2025-079 will be continued to the Monday, June 23rd council meeting. Item 5, ordinance 2025-080 will also be continued to the Monday, June 23rd council meeting, as well as item number 6, ordinance 2025-081 will be continued to the June 23rd council meeting. Item 8, ordinance 2025-113 will be continued to the Monday, June 23rd council meeting. Item 15, ordinance 2025-120 will be continued to the Monday, June 23rd council meeting. Item 16, resolution 2024-R060 020 will be continued to the Monday, July 28th council meeting. Item 17, ordinance 2024-187 will be continued to the Monday, July 28th council meeting. And lastly, item 18, resolution 2024-R041 will be continued to the Monday, June 23rd council meeting. Madam President, those are all the amendments to tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And for those individuals who were here to provide public comment, we'll certainly make public the meeting date, time, and place, but the next Land Use Housing Transportation Committee meeting will be June 17th at 3 p.m. here. So for those of you who are still here, but certainly that information will be publicized so that you can attend. With that, Madam Clerk,
I will need a motion to amend the agenda as read. Ms. Gibson, will you make that motion?
So moved.
Ms. Jones, will you second that motion?
Second.
Council is now voting on this evening's agenda amendments as presented. Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar?
Aye.
Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
And President Newbill?
aye.
Madam President, the consent agenda consists of the following items. Item 7, ordinance 2025-112. Item 9, ordinance 2025-114. Items 9 through 14, ordinance 2025-115, ordinance 2025-116, 2025-117, 2025-118, and 2025-119. Those are all the items on tonight's consent agenda.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now hold a public hearing on the consent agenda items. All those present desirous of speaking in opposition to any item on the consent agenda, if you would come forward to the podium, please. Seeing none in the audience. Where? Oh, okay.
Hello, good evening. I am pulling it up. This is for ordinance 2025-118 for the special build request that's been made. I'm a current resident. I'm the neighboring.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Oh, yes, Jennifer Ward. I am resident at 3100 Peace Street, the home right beside the lot in which the proposed build is being made. I'd actually like to start this with a question, which is, how does this qualify as a thoughtfully designed project? The lot that's being proposed to be built on is 3,300 square feet, and the proposed build requires 6,000 square feet. It is beyond necessity, in my opinion. Another question is, why allow a special permit to build on a lot half the size of what is required, where there is not a demonstrated housing necessity or need that this is fulfilling, and for a build that is out of step with the current character and needs of the neighborhood block itself? Inserting a duplex in the space introduces a level of density that is forced and inconsistent with the surrounding fabric of the block. As a duplex, it looks to be as a for-profit build with minimal regard to the impacts of the current neighbors and homeowners. It is unrealistic to assume having access to transit will offset parking issues that are likely to increase twofold by building a duplex, which opens up to more residents by the nature of that build. As outlined in the proposal itself, I ask, how does a build of a duplex onto half the amount of the land required attract or create employers or foster stable integrated housing options that support lasting community investments? How is this a project that's designed with community connectivity and neighborhood cohesion? How is this not just a for-profit endeavor that risks undermining the very character and livability of the block? This actually undermines the direction of building a balanced, future-focused environment and that's for the overall betterment of the community. This is zoned for a single-family build, and if anything, that's what I'm asking that should be upheld and considered for the overall character and the community itself.
30
Um,
seconds.
That's about it, though. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there others present desirous of speaking in opposition to this project in the audience and/or virtually? Madam Clerk, any virtual sign?
No, there are no virtual speakers signed up.
Thank you. Are there persons present in the audience desirous of speaking in favor of this project? You would come forward. Yes, the entire consent agenda, but yes.
Madam President, members of council, good evening. My name is Will Gillette with Bigger Development Resources. I represent the property owner for the special use permit, 3102 P Street. This request is to construct a two-family detached dwelling, a duplex, on the currently vacant parcel. The two-family use is a permitted use by the underlying R6 zoning and can be found nearby. So the need for this SUP isn't actually driven by the two-family request, but the lot size, as the existing lot size does not meet the current R6 standards. However, it's worth noting here that there is not a single residential lot in this block which does meet the underlying zoning. In fact, at 33 feet in width, this lot and the adjacent lot at 3100 P Street are the two largest lots on the block face, while to the east, lots are literally half of this size at 16.5 feet in width. So the proposed use is permitted by the underlying zoning, and the lot size, which is again the driver of this request, actually meets or exceeds all other residential lots within this block face. Finally, we did send out letters to all nearby property owners in October of 2024, did not receive any responses. And as always, we did present this to the Neighborhood Association in February of this year. We've made the changes which they generally request from us and have received no opposition from the Neighborhood Association. With that, I'd like to thank y'all for your time. I'm glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Are there other persons present desirous of speaking in support of any items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, bring it back to council for discussion. Madam Clerk, if you would call the question.
Council is voting on tonight's consent agenda as stated. Ms. Gibson,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Robertson,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan,
Aye.
President Newbill.
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, let's proceed to motions to amend.
Before you is a motion to amend ordinance number 2025-025, which authorizes the special use of 5009 Rear Sneed Road, 5015 Sneed Road, and 5015 Rear Sneed Road for the purpose of up to 180 multifamily dwelling units and a clubhouse upon certain terms and conditions. And the proposed amendment would modify the terms and conditions related to right-of-way improvements. I will now need a motion to accept this amendment and to continue this ordinance to the July 28th council meeting. Member Jones, will you make that motion, please?
I knew you was gonna say that. Yes.
Member Robertson, will you second that motion?
Second.
Council is now voting on the motion to amend and continue ordinance number 2025-025 to the July 28th council meeting as stated. Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Robertson,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan,
Aye.
and President Newbill.
Aye.
That motion has been approved, and that paper as amended will be before you again on July 28th.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
The next motion for your consideration is a motion to amend ordinance number 2025-046, which amends ordinance number 2008-270-261 as previously amended by ordinance number 2003-296-255, which authorized a community unit plan at 1300 Westwood Avenue for a mixed-use development consisting of a maximum of 140 residential units, a community center with reception facility and non-medical office, a preventative healthcare facility, 2 private schools, and a 50-unit dormitory, and modified the plan for the fence required between the subject property and 1409 Palmyra Avenue, modifying the plan for the development of tennis courts. And this proposed amendment would modify the plans. Member Gibson, will you make the motion to amend and continue ordinance number 2025-046 to the June 23rd council meeting?
So moved.
Councilmember Trammell, will you second that motion, please? Council is now voting on the motion to amend and continue ordinance number 2025-046 to the June 23rd council meeting as stated. Ms. Gibson.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Aye.
Ms. Robertson. Ms. Lynch. Ms. Trammell.
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar.
Aye.
Vice President Jordan.
Aye.
And President Newbill.
Aye.
That motion has been approved, and that paper as amended will be before you again on June 23rd.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's proceed to papers for expedited consideration.
The first paper for expedited consideration this evening is a resolution to consent to the mayor's designation of Sharon Ebert as interim chief administrative officer. I will need a motion to expedite consideration of this paper. Councilwoman Trammell, will you make that motion, please?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Abubakar, will you second that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Council is now voting on the motion to expedite consideration of the proposed resolution as read. Ms. Gibson.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Aye.
Ms. Robertson. Ms. Lynch.
Aye.
Ms. Trammell. Ms. Abubakar. Vice President Jordan.
Aye.
And President Newbill.
Aye.
That paper is before council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would the patron like to provide any comment prior to public hearing? Welcome, Mayor.
Welcome. Good evening. Thank you. This particular paper is to appoint Sharon Ebert as our interim CAO. As you know, Sabrina Joy Hogg unexpectedly resigned and left us for Newport News. And so as we await our new permanent CAO, Sharon has agreed to fill that spot. And you all know Sharon. She was our DCAO of Economic Development and Community Development for the last 6 years. So a very sensible suggestion.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll proceed with the public hearing. Do we have those present in the audience desirous of speaking in opposition to this paper at this time? If you would come forward. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, do we have persons who've joined us virtually desirous of speaking in opposition to the paper?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Thank you. Are there persons present desirous of speaking in favor of this paper? If you would come forward. Seeing none, do we have any persons virtually, Madam Clerk, who are joined?
We do not.
Thank you. Public hearing is closed. Bring it back to council. Any question, comment, inquiry? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank the mayor for this request, and I want to especially thank Ms. Ebert for your long-term services to the city of Richmond. Don't know how many hats can fit on that cute little head, but I will say this much, that we've not had a hat that put on that cute little head, that you haven't done a fantastic job in looking out for the best interests of the city and been willing to put in a tremendous level of hours. And we all greatly appreciate your expertise and your skills. Thank you, Mayor Avula, for this wise decision. And thank you, Ms. Ebert.
Thank you. Councilmember Robertson has expressed it well, Ms. Ebert, so I won't be redundant. Are there others who are desirous of making any further comment? Seeing none, call the question, Madam Clerk. Oh.
Is it on?
Yes, it's on.
I just want to say thank you, Sharon, for accepting this role till we get our other CAO in. And also want to say that I want to take this time to thank Sabrina Joy Hogg for all of her hard work. She wore 3 hats. She was there 24/7, 7 days a week for all of us. And her heart was for the city, and she'll be missed. And I know that you know what this council, each and every one of us have different things that we want done. And especially just to follow up when I'll just say me, when I ask you, please help me with different things and give me a follow-up so that I can let the citizens know that their requests have not been ignored and that somebody is there to help them. So thank you, and thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you will call the question.
Council is now voting on the proposed resolution as read. Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Robertson,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar, Vice President Jordan,
Aye.
and President Newbill.
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you. And thank you again, Mayor, and thank you very much, Ms. Ebert, for your past work and all that you'll do as we move forward. Madam Clerk, next paper.
The next paper for expedited consideration for this evening is a resolution to consent to the mayor's appointment of Odie Donald II to the position of Chief Administrative Officer and to approve the compensation therefor. Is there a motion to expedite consideration of this paper?
So moved.
Second.
Council is now voting on the motion to expedite consideration of the proposed resolution as read. Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Robertson,
Aye.
Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Trammell,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar, Vice President Jordan,
Aye.
and President Newbill.
Aye.
That paper is before you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mayor, as patron, would you like to speak to that paper?
Good evening again, President Newbill and Vice President Jordan and honorable members of the council. I come before you guys this evening in what feels like a really pivotal moment, both for our administration, but I think for our city at large. After working together these last 5 months, I obviously don't need to tell any of you about the significant challenges that we've all had to face as a city. We've been tackling them together, and I think we've recognized together the need to focus on building a stronger organization, a stronger local government. I think I've seen in our conversations together the need that we together really believe in the power of local government to create real change, and that we all want a city government that doesn't just deliver on the basics that our resident needs, but one that leads to genuine social, racial, and economic justice for our city. Under our form of government, one of my most important responsibilities is identifying and nominating a chief administrative officer. And we need someone with the skills and the experience of a top-tier city manager, but who also understands and appreciates the unique dynamics of our mayor-council system here in Richmond. During my campaign, I made a clear pledge to voters that I would conduct a national search for our chief administrative officer and look for the best possible talent to bring to Richmond, Virginia. While our city has undoubtedly made remarkable progress over the last decade, I do know that our residents want more, and they need more, and they deserve more. And Richmond has transformed so much in these recent years that it made complete sense to cast the widest net possible and find an administrative leader who can meet the current challenges and take our beloved city to the next level. So, honorable members of council, I am thrilled to tell you that we have found that leader. Mr. Odie Donald II is my nominee for Chief Administrative Officer. From a pool of over 200 candidates, including many public sector executives with experience from across the country in all kinds of communities, Odie quickly emerged as our strongest candidate. I want to share 3 reasons why he clearly separated himself during this process. First, Odie brings deep proven experience managing day-to-day operations of municipal governments. He's been the top executive in two significant Georgia localities, the city of South Fulton, where Odie literally built that government from scratch as it was a newly incorporated city. And then as a city manager for the consolidated government of Augusta, Richmond County. Odie has a track record of skillfully navigating the complex challenges and opportunities that mid-sized cities like ours face every single day. Second, beyond his chief administrative experience, he also brings a broader perspective from time in much larger localities like Washington, D.C., and Atlanta, where he currently serves as the chief of staff to Mayor Andre Dickens. Throughout his career, Odie has focused on expanding economic opportunities for folks who've been left behind through workforce development programming and innovative policy work. He started his career in local government as an intake specialist, literally the person who says, "Thank you for coming in today. How can I help you?" Then he became a case manager, then a career advisor, then a business rep, then a program manager. That road led him to technical college and then to undergraduate and to the graduate degrees and ultimately to executive roles in local government. And through his work, he has helped more than 500,000 people find employment or housing and has leveraged more than $3 billion in public and private investment for underserved communities. That is the kind of experience that understands not just the technical complexities of municipal operations, but really the human stakes of the decisions that we make every single day. Third, as you will soon discover, Odie is a warm and humble and deeply grounded person with the right qualities to lead our city's workforce and to partner effectively with you all as city council. Don't get me wrong, he will be tough and firm when he needs to be because any effective CAO must. But he carries himself with a humility and a self-awareness about what public service really means, helping people, and especially the most vulnerable among us. I am truly proud to bring him on as my lead administrative partner in the work that I was elected to do for Richmond's residents. And I believe that you all will soon be equally proud to have a leader like Odie Donald here in City Hall. Let me also address Mr. Donald's contract directly, because I think the best way to advance our collective vision for a thriving Richmond is by providing all of our residents with a truly responsive and effective local government. Getting there will not happen overnight, but we will get there much faster with skilled and experienced leadership. We can't deliver a more effective government, let alone achieve our biggest aspirations for a more just city by thinking small. And if you look at what Mayor Dickens accomplished with Odie's partnership in Atlanta, employment relations, crime reduction, youth jobs, federal grant funding, innovative policy development, and 4 consecutive unanimously supported balanced budgets, you will understand that Odie Donald does not think or act small. To bring a professional of this caliber and experience to join us in Richmond, I was more than willing to negotiate a contract at the top end of our council-approved salary range. For some context, Odie was not looking for a new position. After the Robert Bob Group solicited input from you all as City Council, from business leaders, labor representation, community leaders at the very beginning of this process to develop our CAO profile, they went out to their network to find candidates who would meet the incredibly high bar that we set for our city. This approach required us to build a package that would convince somebody to leave an executive role that they were perfectly happy in and to uproot themselves and their family for a new opportunity. If we are serious about improving our city operations and building a government that truly serves our residents, we need to invest in top-tier leadership. Finally, know that Mr. Donald is looking forward to becoming a part of our amazing Richmond community. He will be living here within our city limits, and I know that beyond his time in City Hall, he'll be out and about getting to know the people of Richmond across all 9 districts of our wonderful city. I want to thank Mr. Robert Bob, along with Mr. Kenyatta Uzel of Polyhire for their partnership throughout this entire search process. Our entire team has complete confidence that Odie Donald is the perfect fit for Richmond and for this moment in our city's history. I really believe this is an exciting day for Richmond. It's a day that has been well worth waiting for, and one of the most exciting days of my tenure as mayor so far. I'm thrilled to present for your consideration and confirmation Mr. Odie Donald II as our city's next Chief Administrative Officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We will proceed with a public hearing on the paper at this time. Are there persons present in the audience desirous of speaking in opposition to the paper? If you would come forward. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, do we have anyone who has joined us virtually to speak in opposition?
We do not.
Thank you. Do we have persons present in the audience desirous of speaking in favor of the paper? If you would come forward at this time. Welcome.
Good evening, President Newbill, Vice President Sheridan, honorable members of council. I'm Brian Anderson, President and CEO of Chamber RVA, your regional chamber of commerce for the greater Richmond region. I'm here to commend Mayor Vula and the Robert Bob Group and all those that participated in this search to bring one of 200, as the mayor mentioned, highly qualified, experienced, caring, and empathetic leaders who would like to have the opportunity to serve you all, to serve we, and all of us that call this region our home. In nominating Odie Donald to serve our city, I also commend all the search partners who helped with that process and listening to the mayor, listening to you all, and listening to other leaders who wanted to have input into this conversation. I had the privilege of speaking to the search firm leaders early in the process about what type of leader they should look for in leading this great city and what this person's roles, experiences, skill sets, and even desires they needed to have to be the kind of leader we want, and even to their temperament and personality of how they would serve, again, this great city if they were going to be successful. And having worked around many organizations and with many leaders in his previous state as I lived as well, I know from experience the kind of leader he's grown to be. All the different processes, all the different positions he's held, he's been successful in all of them. And each and every time, people wished him well in the next opportunity to grow and lead. Never has anybody called me or anybody that I can call on that spoke ill of anything that he did in his role. And think of Atlanta, one of the most progressive, large cities in the country, doing really great things, expecting to be 2 million more people by 2050. He personally sat down with me and my team as we planned the intercity visit last year for 200 business, faith, nonprofit, and public leaders. He took the time to advise us on who should be on the panel, who should be speaking, what diverse communities can we make sure we heard from in planning that trip. And it was a highly rated trip by all participants. I close with probably the most important reason why he has my support and those that I represent is because he's the type of leader that I know for a reason that rolls up his sleeves, works alongside his teammates
30
to make
seconds.
sure the job gets done, and believes in making sure our city government is very good at the blocking and tackling, while also having a vision for the big opportunities when they come. I also have the privilege of working with a lot of regional partners, and we know that we need this city. As the city goes, the region goes. And as the region goes, the city goes. We've got to work collaboratively and be partners. So let me close by saying thank you all in the role you serve. Our city council is critically important, as is the executive branch and the leaders he'll put in place. And if we all work together, we can be the best region in the country. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Are there others desirous of speaking in favor of the paper?
Madam President, Vice President, members of City Council, Charles Willis, Executive Director of United Communities Against Crime, also city resident. I come in support of this paper. Let me share with you completely why. If there's no others to come behind me, then I stand as the sole resident in supporting the mayor in this decision. I did a little homework on Mr. Donald. And I found that he was one that was very knowledgeable of some of the issues that deal with us here in Richmond. In Richmond, we have a housing crisis. He's known to tackle housing crisis. In Richmond, we have a homeless situation. I found that he's one that didn't shy away from dealing with the homeless where he works now, where we deal with economic development, and even when we are busy dealing with crime prevention and gun violence prevention. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your decision on gun violence prevention director. We know that we need a leader that would be in the seat, take the heat, stand behind it, and define it. This young man, I've done the homework, and I know you all have also, because I saw in the news that you all were asked if you wanted to reach out to this young man to do so. I know we have very comfortable leadership here that would do that would look at the things that is needed to make sure that the citizens of this city is treated fairly and that we have an open door policy. As I looked at the paper that was introduced, that's being introduced tonight, I see that the Mayor Vula, had no secret in hiding anything about this young man. I'm sitting here in the audience reading all kinds of agreements and all kinds of arrangements. Even his salary is out here publicly. All of the work that he needs to do and should be doing. All of the city ordinances and the laws that he have to abide by is publicly known. So to Mayor Vula, I say thank you for choosing this young man to come to our city. And I'm not often very fond of folks coming and having been raised up in Richmond, Virginia. We are a unique city. There's no city like Richmond, Virginia. There's a rap artist that says they're not like us. And there's no other that's like Richmond, Virginia. They're not like us. So for a young man that wasn't
30
looking for the
seconds.
job, but took on the job and said he would come to Richmond to help us solve our issues, then we want him to be like us. So we thank you, Mayor Vula. We ask that City Council would support this resolution and expedite it today so we can get busy and put our boots on the ground.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. Madam Clerk, do we have any persons who've joined us virtually to speak in favor of this favor?
We do not, Madam President.
Thank you. The public hearing is now closed. Bring it back to City Council for comment, question, inquiry. Councilmember Gibson.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to begin by quoting the city charter to frame council's vote on the selection of our chief administrative officer. So section 5.01.1 states, quote, "The mayor shall appoint a chief administrative officer subject to the advice and consent of a majority of the members of city council." So much like the president makes appointments for Supreme Court justices and the Senate approves, the mayor makes his appointment for CAO, and we as council must do our due diligence to ensure that he's selecting the right person for the job. Our task is to provide checks and balances. The CAO is the most powerful position in our government. This person hires and fires agency heads, prepares this person hires and fires agency heads, prepares the mayor's budget, and carries out the day-to-day operations of the city. The position is critical to the daily functioning of our city government. And I share the public's desire for steady, competent leadership that we can count on for the long haul. For the sake of long-term stability, I think Richmond needs a CAO who is experienced and capable, who has been selected through a process that has earned the trust of the public. And in this moment of time, this is especially critical. There is widespread loss of faith in the competence of our city government as a result of indisputable failings in the delivery of public services and a clear lack of sufficient oversight. Full stop. And I know everyone in this room believes in the awesome power of government to improve our lives and the lives of our neighbors. And so to earn back trust, I believe this council and this administration must essentially lay ourselves bare, open ourselves up to interrogation by the public and the media. Radical transparency is the only path forward, and there are no shortcuts. So when all council members have opportunities to meet potential appointees, ask questions, give our advice and consent, the public benefits. And that's why this vetting process was built into the charter. Taking it a step further from the charter to allow even a short window for community awareness and dialogue would have strengthened the confidence in this outcome even more. Unfortunately, those things didn't happen. And I absolutely recognize the urgency of filling this role. But I don't think that necessitates announcing the appointment on Friday and voting the next business day. The vote was not included in our public agenda. And to the best of my knowledge, the employment contract, the paper that we're voting on, was shared with council members a few hours ago, minutes before we began our informal meeting today. So, I mean, I haven't read it in full. This gives me pause, and I'm not alone. I've heard from numerous highly engaged residents who've expressed concerns about the quick timeline and the lack of a public process. So, all of that said, I've chosen to abstain from today's vote. My abstention reflects a commitment to process and transparency and public accountability. These are promises that I've made. And when we rush a decision this important, I think we risk undermining public trust and the longevity of any appointment that we make. And I've given this a lot of thought. I know that the hope is that this vote would be unanimous to symbolize support. But for democratic bodies like ours, supporting the administration and each other doesn't have to look like voting the same way every time. And this is something I'm working to normalize in my tenure. I am excited to meet Mr. Donald. In our office in the 3rd District, we'd love to schedule a time for him to come and to talk to residents in the 3rd, because the work now is getting to a place where residents citywide feel assured that they're in capable hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. And thank you to my colleague, because she was really thinking hard on that. So I always appreciate your candor, seriously. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a New Yorker. I'm super excited. You know, big city. I know we don't want Richmond to be a big city, but I do want to say that I'm in full support of this paper, this appointment. I believe in the power of relationships, and I believe that they have to start somewhere. They don't just become peaches and cream overnight. And so I believe that part of this paper is part of us building relationships. I know when we went to Atlanta, we saw a lot of things as a reflection and things that we could do differently in Richmond. And a lot of it dealt with unhoused population, you know, a lot of issues that we are facing here. And we learned a lot from them when we went to Atlanta. And so I do believe that Mr. Donald is going to be someone that is going to come in with the mindset of the issues that we are facing and ready to tackle them. And so while, as Ms. Gibson stated, we don't all have to have the same way of thinking, doing, and being, it doesn't mean that we are not willing to work together to ensure transparency, accountability, because it will be very high. And yes, there are processes and procedures that we are seeing that we can do better. And we need to think about that as we continue this process moving forward. But I know for me, I'm super excited. I think I'm just tired of having the mayor have to answer the question every conversation. What are you going to do about a CAO? So I'm so happy to put that to rest, especially being part of the campaign and all those things. But I do think that I'm more interested in us building our relationships with council and the mayor, with the mayor and council, and with the new CAO to really address, you know, our underlying issues that all of us express on a daily basis in our respective districts, and just let him know, if he is listening, hopefully, that you have your hands full coming to Richmond. And we have a lot of work that we need to do to better our city and better our government. So again, I'm excited about it. I'm ready for us to get moving, and let's do this.
Thank you. Councilmember Amperbacher.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for your presentation and for your engagement with us. I echo my colleagues' sentiments that, could the process, there's always improvements to this process. I do wish there was a little bit more time. That being said, I'm going to go with trust but verify, or trust but account. I do think it is this body's responsibility to hold any member of the administration accountable for how they serve people of the city of Richmond. Because at the end of the day, we hear about it. We are the ones that end up listening to our citizens. So I am going to support this nomination, but know that that will come with a great deal of accountability, because with a great salary, and justifiably so, he is qualified, comes great responsibility. And I know that you have briefed Mr. Donald on that, and I look forward to working with him in the future and trusting your choice in this.
Thank you. Vice President Jordan.
Thank you. Well, earlier today, I kept President Newble waiting because I was stuck in the basement for the elevators. And looking back at that moment, every elevator said OD. All the elevators were up at the OD level observation deck. And once I got in, I started seeing OD everywhere. Every time I got off to get back in the elevator, it was at OD. People were going up to OD. And so I feel like I've been thinking about OD all day long. But I just want to say how much I look forward to OD, the person, joining the city and bringing much needed stability to this position. Not only do Richmonders need stability in this position, the mayor's office needs stability in this position, our council needs stability in this position, and our staff really needs stability in this position. Above all, those who have been having to fill in for these leadership gaps. By the time Sabrina Joy Hogg got stolen away, she was wearing 3 different hats. And she was doing all really well, but it's not fair to put these burdens on our staff. So I really look forward to having him here. As the mayor said, good things and certainly good people are worth waiting for. I'm grateful that OD and his family have chosen to come here to the best Richmond in the country. I know there's several vying for that, but this is the best Richmond, Virginia, and we can't wait for you to be part of our City Hall family and our Richmond community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Mayor Vula, for the work that you and your team have done to find the right person to support your obligations and duties and responsibilities to the city, and to bring forth this paper tonight. I had sent a note. I did get a text message or a voice message, I think, Mr. Mayor, from you late this afternoon. Sorry I didn't get a chance to respond back to that. I did have an opportunity to speak briefly, very briefly, not until today, based on the information that I received on Friday. Appreciate your telephone conversation on Thursday. I have had an opportunity today, and I did take some time this weekend to do a little bit of research. I had some opportunities to listen to some text interviews that he has done, and read comments from others that strongly recommend him. I am confident that your interactions with the applicant pool and the recommendation that you feel very strongly that this is what is best and the right thing for the city of Richmond. I'm not questioning that at all. I did ask that lately, just lately asked that we would consider not expediting this paper, and the reason why I like to elaborate on that some. Um, as you have said, one of the greatest responsibilities you have is to hire this position, and I agree with you. I think also, as far as the council is concerned, it is our greatest responsibility also to do our due diligence to make sure that we feel without any questionable doubt that this is the right person. And I'm not questioning, I'm not questioning or doubting your selection. I I feel very strongly that your interest in the city and where you want to see the city go is all for the right reasons and the right purpose. We've had some very deep, heartfelt conversations about many of the issues that we face. And you're right, the last 5 months have been tough. If you didn't have a little scar tissue in some places, I think you've acquired a little bit more over the past 5 months, along with all of us. The comments that have been made in the paper as it relates to who we are and whether or not we are competent and all of the other kinds of disparaging things that have been said is truly unjust and not fair to our citizens, to our staff, to this council, and to the leadership of the city of Richmond. I asked for this paper to not be expedited because I would like to have this paper come back in a couple weeks for a vote so that I would have the opportunity, and hopefully others as well that have not had an opportunity. I was hopeful tonight and was quite disappointed. I really look forward to meeting him tonight. And I don't know why it was not able for him to be here. I'm sure that was probably your desire and perhaps his as well. I do feel that there's a level of confidence that the citizen, I'll speak for my district, want to know that I have had this opportunity to really talk to this candidate that you're proposing, that I would feel equally as strong to know him as a person. And that's part of the reason why I want to look at, like I said, the contract, have that conversation with him, and have that opportunity to come back. I don't think there's anything more important than the council having 100% solid, absolute solid support for the person that we're going to bring into this job and the big tasks that they're going to take on. And we've got some major challenges that are before us. And a lot of them rest in our finance department. A lot of them rest in what we're doing in our finance department. And the lack of Sabrina is probably the best, and most people have told us, as it relates to dealing with municipality governments. So we do have some real severe weakness in our top level of management. And it's important that we all be kind and considerate with each other as we go through this process of building that foundation. And I want to be one of your strongest supporters in doing that, and my colleagues, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take us standing up for our employees and the quality of work that they do, and not allowing anyone else to tell us that we're not competent, because we are, that we hire the best. And I believe that you are hiring the best. I do. I would like a little bit more time than Friday afternoon and Monday to have an opportunity to have more of a dialogue with this person. And I think that's a fair request. However, I am one vote on city council, and I have asked for it to not be expedited. I understand that that's not your desire, and I'm sure that we will work through what needs to be worked through in the process to get us where we need to be. But I want to make it very clear from my perspective tonight what I want to experience between now and the first day that Mr. McDonald takes on this position. And I'm depending upon you and your team to help me get there. And I greatly would appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilmember Trammell.
Mayor, I want to thank you for your phone call, for, speaking with me for about 30 minutes. And also I heard from Odie today, and we had a great conversation, and I was very impressed. And he said that he'd already did the research on all of us, so that made me feel really good. And he said that he was looking forward to having more conversations with me. And I want to just say to my colleagues, I appreciate, speaking up for Sabrina tonight, but where were you all at when we knew that she was leaving? Why didn't you all come out and fight for her and keep her here? Because we all knew that she was wearing 3 hats. We all knew that she did a hell of a job, but you didn't fight for her. But that's, now you're asking for a continuance. We don't need a continuance on this. We need a CAO tonight. And to me, we've had, a citizen come here and speak about the reason why we need a CAO. And yes, he said he looks forward to coming to our district meetings. We've already, hopefully he'll get around to coming to all of them before December because time's going by so fast. But I think that looking at his resume and everything, and he spoke about the seniors, he spoke about all the citizens, that he wants to treat them fairly, and he wants to hear from us council members about some of the issues that we're having in our districts. So that was a plus right there. And all I ask is, please, when I call you, please do a follow-up and let me know so I can let the citizens know, because they have a hard time getting through to City Hall. So I'm going to support him tonight. Don't need to continue this. There's no reason for it. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you.
I would just like to add, Mr. Mayor, given the critical importance of this position and the work that this person will certainly engage in, I appreciate your retaining a nationally recognized firm to conduct a national search with the full array of qualifications, experiences, commitment, assets, etc., that we, because of our discussions and our broadly staff, the council members, that we were looking for and are looking for. I'm just very appreciative of your taking that approach, identifying an individual with the kinds of qualifications that meet what I think we've been looking for. And certainly on my inner city visit, I got to see a lot of the work in Atlanta, so especially around housing. So it wasn't what I think, it was also some of what I saw, certainly as we went down to look at a variety of things in that city and to learn from them that clearly Odie was certainly a part of. And so I am very appreciative of the approach taken, of the full vetting, and of the identification of someone who I believe meets our needs. That doesn't mean we don't have a lot of work to do together, because we do. And so I'm clear about that, both with council, the citizenry, staff, et cetera. But I think that we, through your efforts, have identified an individual, and through my certainly brief conversation with him, it is clear that I think this is the person at this time, and look forward to supporting and working with him and you and staff and the broader community to move our city to that next level. So thank you. With that, Madam Clerk, I will ask you to call the question.
Council is now voting on the proposed resolution as read. Ms. Gibson?
Abstain.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar?
Aye.
Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
And President Newville?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Mr. Mayor, again, thank you so much for your due diligence. This was not an easy undertaking, and you took this absolutely seriously, clearly, as you do all of those items before you, and we greatly appreciate all of your efforts and this result. Look forward to Mr. Donald's work and joining our team. Thank you. Madam Clerk, I think we have few other items to attend to before we depart.
Yes, next on the agenda is the introduction of new legislation.
Yes.
And members, the list of legislation for introduction this evening consisting of items 5 through 17 has been provided to you. And the legislation on this list is hereby introduced as presented. A copy of the list is currently available for public inspection at the rear of the council chamber, and an electronic copy and copies of the listed legislation will be available on the city's website on Tuesday, June 10. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, I know we're way down in the agenda, but we had earlier Ms. Coral Hayes who wanted to speak during public hearing, and I'm not sure of her technology challenge, but would like to offer her that opportunity to make comment, and we'll share with her the next steps in terms of that topic going to land use, housing, and transportation on 617. So if you would allow her to speak.
Ms. Hayes, if you're there, if you would unmute your device and then provide your comments, you'll have 3 minutes. Madam President, she's there, but I don't see her unmuting.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. If we can make sure that she gets the information in terms of the Land Use, Housing, Transportation Committee meeting, that she could certainly join to provide her comments, I would greatly appreciate that.
Will do.
Thank you. At this point, let's proceed with, I believe we're up to reports and announcements. Councilwoman Robertson. Reports and announcements.
Madam President, Ms. Hayes has raised her hand.
Councilwoman Robertson, if I could press pause. I do want to get Ms. Hayes the opportunity. Yes.
Yes.
Madam Clerk.
Ms. Hayes, if you would please click over or hover over the mic icon. I believe there should be 3 dots for an option to unmute yourself. I see you on camera, but I don't. We still can't hear you, can't see, we can't, when we're not able to unmute you.
Yes, she appears to be muted still. Okay, Madam Clerk, I will ask if we can reach out to Ms.
Oh, wait, she's unmuted now.
Okay.
She's unmuted.
All right. Let's see what we are.
Hi.
All right, Ms.
Ms. Hayes. Hello, Ms. Hayes. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, City Council President Newville and distinguished council members. My name is Cora Hayes, and I live in the city's 5th district. I come before you tonight to express my concerns about what RRHA and RDC is planning for the Gilpin Court community. And also, I am in support of the Gilpin Court residents. Gilpin Court was built in 1942, having 247 units. Today, the community has grown to having 781 units. What I would like to see RRHA do is to reinstate Section 3, reinstate resident self-sufficiency programs to empower the residents in that community to become self-sufficient and move on. Gilpin Court has only been renovated twice since it was first built, once in 1957 and again in 1970. That's over 55 years ago. RRHA needs to renovate, upgrade the units in Gilpin Court, and not set up the community to be sold. Thank you for my time.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hayes, for your comments. And there will be further discussion of this item at the Council's Land Use, Housing, and Transportation Committee meeting on June 17th here in Council Chambers at 3 o'clock. Please feel free to attend and join and share your comments. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Robertson. I certainly can. Councilwoman Jones.
I don't have any either, but Say is sick today and she didn't get him to me. But I do want to thank everyone for coming out last Thursday to help us kick off summer at the Southside Community Center. It was a great success, block party for the families in the community of the 9th District. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gibson.
Thank you. So our next 3rd district meeting will be June 18th at 6 p.m. at Henderson Middle School. We'll be joined by the Director of the Department of Utilities, Mr. Scott Morris. He'll introduce himself and we'll be answering questions that residents have, and light refreshments will be served. We've had a lot of questions from folks about code refresh and what it would mean for them and their neighbors. And so we're encouraging residents to go to one of the upcoming open houses for the draft zoning district uses and map for code refresh that are coming up this month. That includes June 25th from 4 to 7 at Southside Community Center and June 26th from 9 to noon at City Hall in the first floor lobby. And that same day in the afternoon, 4 to 7 at the Richmond, Maine Public Library. There will be a performance of our one-man Mitchell at Pine Camps and Community Center. This play is about John Mitchell Jr. and how he used his position and platform as editor-in-chief of the Richmond Planet to advocate for Richmond's Black community. The free performance will take place on Saturday, June 14th at 2 p.m. at Pine Camp Arts and Community Center at 4901 Old Brook Road. The Rosedale Civic Association has their meeting tomorrow, Tuesday, at St. Albans Church at 4006 Hermitage Road at 6:30. And the Battery Park Civic Association is also meeting on Tuesday, June 10th at the North Avenue Branch Library at 6:30. Please make sure to sign up for our mailing list, which can be found on the rva.gov website. And if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me at kenya.gibson@rva.gov and our liaison, Sarandon, at sarandon.elliott@rva.gov, or call the office at 804-646-6055.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gibson. Councilwoman Lynch.
There we go. Sorry, there's copious notes on these civic association meetings. I don't have them all committed to memory, so I had to pull up my list. All right, for our civic association meetings, we have a litany of civic association meetings, town halls coming your way in the 5th District. Let me share just a few of them. Next Thursday, June 12th, is Senior Day in the park at Bird Park. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come out and join us. Also, next Thursday, June 12th, the Stadium Civic Association will be holding their quarterly meeting at Lois Harrison Jones Elementary School at 7 p.m. Sunday, June 15th, we'll celebrate all of the fathers in the 5th District and across the city with a special newsletter. Thursday, June 19th, Juneteenth, the City Hall will be closed and we'll be celebrating that beautiful holiday. The next 5th District event will be the Ice Cream Social on Saturday, July 12th at Monticello Playground. Mark your calendars for some ruby ice cream. And my colleague Sarah will officially share the announcement, but we will be doing a collab at our neighborhood party to celebrate the momentous, I should say, Stonewall Pride event. And look forward to seeing you out there. And as always, if you need me, or Amy is currently on vacation, but if you need me, you can always reach me at 804-646-5724, emailing stephanie.lynch or amy.robbins@rva.gov. Thank you.
Councilwoman Trammell.
Madam President. This Thursday is our 8th District meeting at the Satellite from 6 to 7:30 p.m. 4000 Richmond Highway. Everyone is invited to attend our meeting. We're going to have some great speakers. Usually our police chief is there, our fire chief, other great speakers will be there. Chip Decker from the Richmond Ambulance Authority. Also, I know that there's been a lot of calls to me in reference to the flooding in different neighborhoods in my 8th district, and that's because of they're asking for the stormwater drains to be cleaned out. I know that Scott has been right on this, trying to help, and I really, really appreciate Scott Morris for all of his things that he's done to help us, because so many people keep calling Bobby Vincent. That is not under Bobby Vincent. That is under public utilities with the flooding. Also, I'm getting a lot of calls about the cemeteries, and I want to thank Chris for answering all my calls, because he said with all the rain and everything was short of help, but he's right on top of it, and I really, really appreciate that. And because that's what that's what the citizens want. When they're calling you, it doesn't matter if they live in a city, Chesterfield, Henrico, they have loved ones that are buried in these cemeteries, and they want to be able to find the graves, and they want to be able to have the grass cut and all of that. This right here is your free smoke alarm. All you got to do is ask the firefighters to come to your home or to your apartment, and they will install this smoke alarm for free. Doesn't cost anything. It's probably the only thing that's free in the city is these free smoke alarms. If it needs a battery, they'll even put a battery in there for you too. If you have any questions, you can call my home at 804-233-7382. Again, my home number is 804-233-7382. My personal cell is 804-240-5050. Again, my cell number 804-240-5050. Thank you.
Councilmember Abubakar.
Thank you. We held our second neighborhood advisory team meeting last week and had a great conversation with a group of super engaged neighbors. These are people that may or may not represent an area that has a neighborhood association or civic association, but they have applied and stepped up to be leaders in their communities. And we voted on sort of deciding that we're going to reinitiate 311/infrastructure walks. So administration, be ready for me, because we'll be reaching out to have the administration come out to each neighborhood and walk the neighborhood and see firsthand what is going on. Again, I'm really grateful for the group of leaders for taking their time and energy to pour it back into the community. Westover Hills is having their neighborhood association meeting this Wednesday at 7 p.m. at Westover Hills United Methodist Church. Forest Hill will have theirs on next Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Forest Hill Presbyterian Church. There's going to be a little bit of a break in some of the neighborhood and civic association meetings over the summer, so I encourage residents to connect with their neighborhood before everybody heads out for vacation. As my colleague, Councilmember Lynch said, there is going to be Stonewall on Stonewall in her district, but never one to miss a party in South Richmond. I will be there as well, supporting our LGBTQ plus community. Additionally, mark your calendars for my next district meeting, which will be Tuesday, June 24th at 6 p.m. at Gramophone on Forest Hill. We will have a presentation from our city auditor, Riyadh Ali, who is also a 4th District resident, and we will have refreshments from Zombie Pizza and Gramophone. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Robertson.
Appreciate the grace. So we're closing out the year. We're having a wonderful opportunity to give some awards and recognition to some outstanding service providers in the 6th District that will be held at 6 o'clock, June the 20th at the Hippodrome. So I'm encouraging all of the 6th District residents to come, but we all are welcome to have outstanding awards that we will be giving out that evening. We are also wanting to just remind Richmond of the wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony that we had last week with the amphitheater on the river. We got a lot of great artists coming in town. We're looking for opportunities to make sure that all of our local artists get an opportunity to be on the stage. And we also want to keep very close contact with the surrounding communities to make sure that the great time that we're having at the amphitheater is also a wonderful living experience for our neighbors that are very close to that area. Also on this week, Thursday, the 12th of June, and the 3200 block of 2nd Avenue, we are having an at the site discussion about a special use permit that is coming to that area that's adding quite a bit of new homes on an existing lot that has one historic home there at the present time. Neighbors are concerned about the impact on that one parcel of land that's being subdivided. So I want to encourage residents, especially those that live right in that 3200 block of 2nd Avenue and the adjacent streets, to join us at that site, 3200 2nd, at 6 o'clock on June the 12th. That is Thursday this week. We've already had wonderful announcements in regards to the zoning refresh that we are currently going through. I'm honored to serve as a council representative on that advisory board, and I do want to encourage the residents to participate and the opportunities and attend the open house events that are scheduled for June the 25th and June the 26th. And you can go to the city's website and get more information on locations and times, which have already been mentioned earlier this afternoon. My town meeting in July is going to focus on rezoning, but it's going to also have housing opportunities as our special guest, because we're going to be talking about the significance of the zoning to address increased density in the city of Richmond, but also the impact that zoning is having on displacement and has had in the city of Richmond, and the gentrification that is taking place in the city. This is going to be a very detailed conversation. We're going to show you maps for each neighborhood in the 6th District, and we're going to talk specifically about what is being proposed as it relates to zoning and the costs or the impact that it will have on the existing residents that are here while we try to increase the density. So I want to encourage everyone to come out to my July meeting in regards to that, and we will be providing additional information as we get closer to the date. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilmember Robinson, Vice President Jury.
Thank you. I want to draw attention to the Arthur Ashe Bridge Replacement Project. There's going to be a meeting held by Department of Public Works, community meeting to review the project plans this Wednesday. So this week, Wednesday, June 11th, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Science Museum of Virginia. The project team, along with consultants from the Timmons Group, will be available to answer questions during the meeting. The project will replace the existing bridge structure over the CSX Railroad at the city's crossroads between Broad and 64. The project design for the new bridge includes enhanced connectivity for pedestrians, cyclists, and vehicles. I'd also like to draw attention to the Abner Clay Park cleanup coming up. Please join the Historic Jackson Ward Association Saturday, June 21st for Neighborhood Cleanup Day. These are always a great opportunity to meet your neighbors, get out, do something good. Meet at Abner Clay Park. They will assign blocks from there. All volunteers are welcome. You don't have to be in Jackson Ward. There are tons of ways you can support. Learn more about this from the Historic Jackson Ward Association Facebook page.
Another important event, Tenants Town Hall. The Virginia Poverty Law Center is hosting a town hall meeting to educate City of Richmond residents on tenants' rights. CVLAS will have an attorney present to discuss these rights and answer any legal questions residents may have concerning housing issues. The meeting will be held at the main branch library, now in the 2nd District, on Wednesday, June 25th from 6 to 7:30. Food and drinks will be provided. Let's see, June primary, just a reminder, the primary is Saturday. The primary runs through this Saturday, June 24th. As always, if you need any assistance with anything happening in the city of Richmond, please reach out to our office so that we can assist you. The phone number is 804-646-6532. You can find us also on social media at Catherine J. RVA. You can email us at catherine.jordan@rva.gov. Please always CC liaison sven.phillipson@rva.gov. And I want to shout out Director Scott Morris and the DPU team who've been extra helpful with some constituent issues in my district. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a few community announcements. The Churchill Central Civic Association will meet on Tuesday, tomorrow, June 10th at 6 p.m. at the East End Library located at 25th and R Street. The Greater Fulton Civic Association will meet on Tuesday, tomorrow, June 10th at 7 p.m. at the Powhatan Hill Community Center located at 5051 Northampton Street. The Robinson Theater will have their 17th annual block party on Friday, June 13th at 5:30 at 2903 Q Street. The Legba Folklore Society will host their annual Juneteenth event on Saturday, June 14, starting at 12:30 to 4:30, followed by the Slave Trail Torch Walk, beginning at 5 from the Manchester Docks and Carroll's Boat Landing, 1200 Brander Street. The Peter Paul Development Center will host their Juneteenth event on Thursday, June 19th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at 1708 North 22nd Street. The Juneteenth Southern Soul Festival will be held on Thursday, June 19th, beginning at the historic Fulton Memorial Park at 10 a.m., followed by the community block party that will be held at Mount Calvary Baptist Church at 4401 Hobbs Lane at 12 noon. Parks and Recreation will host their annual Juneteenth event this Thursday, June 19th at the Intermediate Terminal, 3101 Water Street, starting at 6 p.m. We invite all to come out and partake and celebrate Juneteenth events and activities, and certainly to attend your civic association meetings and other events to provide feedback and certainly join with the community to work to address any number of challenges and concerns that we face, but together can certainly conquer. For further information, feel free to contact my liaison, Sam Patterson, at 804-241-7544, or you can contact me at 804-543-7837. Madam Clerk, do we have other items for the good of the order this evening?
We do not.
Thank you. We thank everyone who attended this evening, who made comment. Mr. Mayor, thank you again. Greatly appreciated. All members, this meeting now stands adjourned.